Aries, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt the air shift before anything actually changed? That quiet moment when your spirit knows something is coming, even if your mind can't explain it yet? Because if you're here, it's not an accident. You were guided, pulled into this exact moment, because heaven is moving pieces around your life in ways you cannot see. And I need you to hear this with your whole heart. God is making moves, big moves. There is a wealth shift unfolding on this planet, and the energy is flowing toward the ones who have stayed pure, steady, and faithful, even through seasons of drought and silence. If your soul has been trembling lately, if your dreams have been strange, if you've been waking up at odd hours, Aries, that's not random. That's confirmation. Something big is approaching you. Something meant to change the entire structure of your life. Stay with me, because what comes next will explain why you were chosen and what is already on its way to you. Aries, let me stay with you for a moment, because I can feel something rising in you even now. A tightening in the chest, a flicker of recognition, almost like your spirit knows this message isn't being spoken to a million people. Just you. Only you. You didn't wander in here because you were bored. You were brought here because a door has been turning quietly in the unseen. And tonight, it finally opens. Not with noise, not with fireworks, but with that soft, unmistakable pull that whispers, "This is your hour." And Aries, I need you to breathe that in. Because for so long, you've been the one pushing through storms that weren't meant for you. Carrying weight no one saw. Walking through seasons where even hope felt like a luxury. Yet, you never stopped. You kept moving. You kept believing in something you couldn't name. Even in your lowest moments, the flame inside you refused to die. That flame is the very reason heaven has turned its face toward you now. What's unfolding in your life isn't random. It isn't luck. It isn't chance. It is alignment. Divine timing. The quiet fulfillment of prayers you forgot you prayed. And what God is preparing for you, it isn't small. It isn't gentle. It isn't subtle. It is a shift big enough to touch every corner of your life. A shift that moves like a rising tide, lifting things you thought were long gone, and washing away what never belonged. Aries, for months, maybe even years, you've felt something coming. A pressure. A sense that the life you've been living no longer fits the shape of who you're becoming. And you were right. That wasn't imagination. That was God rearranging the foundation beneath your feet. What you're stepping into now is a moment written for you long before you were old enough to dream of it. And this moment carries a message. You were never forgotten. You were never overlooked. You were being prepared. Because when heaven moves wealth towards someone, it doesn't choose the loudest or the strongest, or the ones who chase money like it's oxygen. It chooses the ones who can carry it with integrity. The ones who know what struggle feels like, and therefore know what compassion means. The ones who won't lose themselves in the blessing. That's why it's you. Not because you demanded it, but because you grew into it. And if you listen closely, beneath your breathing, beneath the stillness of this moment, you might feel the first tremor of what's making its way toward you. A movement that has nothing to do with effort and everything to do with calling. You've stepped into a season where heaven is no longer silent, where doors don't creak open, they swing wide, and the shift you're sensing isn't the beginning of chaos, it's the beginning of restoration. Stay right here with me, Aries, because what's coming next in your story will show you why this moment found you, and what destiny is already placing into your hands. Aries, as I sit here with you, I can almost feel the ground shifting beneath the surface of your life. Not in a way that brings fear, but in a way that feels like something ancient finally waking up. You know that sensation, don't you? The quiet certainty that something larger than you is rearranging pieces you could never move on your own. And what's unfolding now isn't small. It isn't symbolic, it's real, almost tangible if you let yourself breathe into it. There is a movement happening in the unseen, a kind of divine redirection that doesn't announce itself with thunder, but with precision. Almost like a hand reaching down, taking what was once hoarded, abused, or used for harm, and placing it gently into the palms of those who carry light with a steady heart. I need you to hear this, Aries. You are one of the steady ones. Even in your fire, even in your temper, even in the moments where life felt too heavy to name, you never allowed your spirit to be corrupted. You felt anger, yes, disappointment, yes. But you never surrendered your integrity, and that matters in ways you cannot imagine. Because what is being transferred now, this wealth, this opportunity, this rise, it isn't just about money. It's about trust. It's about being chosen to hold what others misused. It's about carrying something powerful without letting it turn you hard or hollow. Heaven does not pass that torch to everyone. It passes it to the ones who know how to protect the flame without burning the world down. That is why your name is written into this shift, not because you demanded it, not because you fought harder than anyone else, but because even in your fire, you remained pure in ways that can't be measured on paper. You were built for this moment, and maybe that's why you've been sensing a strange clarity lately, why old attachments feel heavier, why old dreams feel too small, why the life you've been living suddenly feels like a doorway instead of a destination. When a new chapter is written for a soul like yours, the old one begins to loosen quietly, sometimes long before you understand why. This transfer, this rise, this shift, it is not coming to you for you alone. It is coming through you for the world you touch, for the people who will be lifted because you were lifted, for the balance that is restored when someone with a clean heart is entrusted with resources, influence, and reach. And Aries, whether you realize it or not, you are being positioned to lead, not with force, but with presence, not with noise, but with truth. There is a reason your life has felt like preparation. There is a reason your struggles carved depth into you instead of bitterness. There is a reason the world never broke you. You were being shaped to hold something that once belonged to hands that misused it. So, stay with me. Because the next part of your story reveals what begins to happen the moment heaven decides a season of lack has ended, and a season of supernatural provision starts to pour in. Aries, come a little closer for a moment. I want you to breathe with me, slowly, gently, because what I am about to tell you deserves space inside your chest. It deserves stillness. It deserves to land in a heart that has carried far too much for far too long. You know that feeling of tightening before the storm breaks? You know the weight of holding everything together when no one else knew how close you were to falling apart. For years, you have walked like a warrior wrapped in ordinary clothes, fighting battles no one named, surviving nights that left marks on your spirit, pushing forward even when the road refused to meet you halfway. And through all of that, you rarely asked for anything. You kept telling yourself to be strong, to handle it, to carry it, to rise, and you did. You rose again and again, even when your knees were shaking. But Aries, something in the air has changed. I can feel it, and I know you can feel it too, even if you haven't fully admitted it yet. There is a shift moving toward you, the kind that begins quietly, the way dawn begins before anyone sees the first hint of light. A subtle warmth spreading through cold places, a whisper rising where silence used to settle. For so long, you lived in a cycle that asked more of you than it returned, a cycle that demanded strength without offering rest, a cycle that shaped you, yes, but drained you too. And you kept wondering when the tide would finally turn. Aries, it has turned. Heaven has been watching the weight you carried, and now, in this moment, a declaration has been spoken over your life. Your days of scraping by, of stretching yourself thin, of carrying burdens that were never yours to hold. Those days are ending. There is a wind shifting in your favor, not a gust, not a storm, but a steady sacred current moving every locked door, every dry well, every delayed blessing into alignment. A current designed not by your labor, but by grace, not by pressure, but by promise. What is coming to you is not the result of hustling or forcing. It is not a reward for exhaustion. It is the opening of a season that was always meant for you. A season where provision flows without you having to bleed for it. A season where you no longer fight alone in the dark, but walk with the kind of ease that only arrives when something larger than your effort begins to lift you. And maybe you've sensed it. The strange peace that shows up at midnight. The dreams that feel too vivid to ignore. The quiet confidence rising from places inside you that were once filled with fear. That is the sign. The cycle of lack has loosened its grip on you. A supernatural stream is already moving in your direction, preparing to meet you at the intersection of readiness and divine timing. Let yourself soften into that truth, Aries, because what unfolds next, what begins to bloom in the corners of your life that once felt barren, will show you why endurance was required and why heaven never intended to leave you empty. Stay here with me, because as this new season opens its first gentle door, there is something deeper waiting behind it. Something that explains why you were chosen to receive the very shift that is now rising in your path. Aries, there's something I've been wanting to tell you gently, something that sits beneath everything you've been feeling these past months. And I want you to hear it not with your ears, but with the quiet place inside you that recognizes truth before it's spoken. You are not imagining the pull around you, that soft pressure, that strange awareness, that sense that life is rearranging itself in ways you can't fully explain. What you're sensing is real. There is a shift happening on this planet, a movement rising through people's lives like an invisible tide. Some feel it only as a whisper, others as a faint stirring. But you feel it like a pulse, like a heartbeat not your own. And that is because souls like yours are wired differently. You are built to sense change before it arrives, to lean into the unknown before anyone else even notices it forming. You have always been that way, a step ahead, a little too intuitive for your own comfort, the one who sees the storm before the first cloud, and the one who feels the blessing before the world calls it a blessing. And there's a reason for that. Some people are simply meant to witness change, but a few, a very rare few, are meant to begin it. Aries, you are one of those few. You carry something ancient in your energy, something that moves first, something that responds before thought, almost like your soul remembers a language from another lifetime. When the universe shifts, you shift with it. When heaven prepares something new, you feel the echo of it long before it takes shape in the physical world. That is why this moment feels different for you, why it presses on your ribs, why it hums in your dreams, why your spirit refuses to settle into the patterns that once felt familiar. You are not being restless, you are being awakened. And yes, this wealth transfer, this rise, this opening, it is already written in the unseen. Long before the signs appear around you, they appear within you. Long before life opens the door, your intuition feels the handle turning. That is why you are here at the front of this wave, not by accident, not by coincidence, but because the universe always sends its first signals to the ones who know how to recognize them, the ones who don't dismiss the stirring in their chest, the ones who can hear a calling even when it speaks in silence. You may not see the full picture yet. Your reality might not reflect the magnitude of what is coming, but the spiritual realm has already shifted in your favor, and your life is simply catching up to what has already been declared. And if you allow yourself a moment of stillness, just one breath where you stop bracing for what could go wrong, you might feel the certainty beneath your uncertainty, a quiet knowing that whispers you were chosen for this rise long before you ever had the strength to imagine it. Stay with me here, Aries, because as this realization settles into you, there is something even deeper waiting just beneath it, something that explains why your battles were so heavy and why your blessings now must be even heavier in return. Let's step into that together. Aries, let me sit with you for a moment, right here in this quiet space between your breath and the world outside, because there's something you need to feel, not just understand, something that keeps circling around you like a warmth you can't fully name. You've spent so much of your life believing that everything rises or falls on your own shoulders, that if you didn't fight for it, push for it, bleed for it, it wouldn't happen, that the world moves only when you force it to. And you carried that belief because, for a long time, no one showed you otherwise. But this moment, this season, this shift, Aries, it isn't something you have to force. You are stepping into a space where what is meant for you no longer needs to be chased. It's already in motion, already on its way, already woven into timelines you haven't yet reached. And the most astonishing part is this: nothing can stop it. Not the economy, not the climate of the world, not the noise of the news cycle, not the uncertainty around you, not the old fears trying to whisper that good things never last. What is moving toward you now is operating on a level untouched by any of those things. It isn't bound by market trends or political storms or the shifting moods of other people. It isn't fragile. It isn't at risk. It isn't dependent on who believes in you or who doubts you. It is coming because it was commanded to come. There is a design unfolding around your life, one you didn't craft, but one you were always meant to walk into. A design that lifts resources, people, opportunities, and divine timing out of places you cannot see and places them gently into the path of someone who has earned them through resilience rather than noise. And I wish you could see how the threads are moving behind the scenes. I wish you could see how certain names are being prepared to enter your life, how certain doors are beginning to glow at the edges, how certain paths are clearing without you having touched a single thing. This is what it looks like when heaven backs a soul. Not chaos, not friction, but alignment. And maybe that is why lately you have felt a strange calm inside you. A calm that makes no sense compared to what you've lived through. A calm that arrives before the blessing, almost like the world is holding its breath on your behalf. Because something is guiding the right people toward you, Aries. The helpers, the encouragers, the ones who will fund your ideas, support your mission, speak your name in rooms you've never entered. They are already turning in your direction. Not because you begged, not because you performed, but because grace has decided that your story is ready to expand. Let that truth settle into your chest. Let it soften the parts of you that still brace for disappointment. Because what is coming can't be blocked, delayed, or stolen. And as this certainty sinks deeper into you, there is something else rising right beside it. A revelation about why you were given such heavy battles in the first place, and what they were preparing you to inherit. Stay with me, Aries. We're about to step into that truth together. Aries, let me speak to that quiet place inside you, the place that rarely shows itself to the world, the part of you that carries strength like armor, yet still aches for someone to recognize how much you've had to endure just to stay standing. I want you to feel seen in this moment, because what I'm about to tell you reaches far deeper than circumstance. It reaches the core of who you are. There is something sacred resting over your life right now. Something that has been waiting for the right season to unfold. Something that was written for you long before you ever had words for your dreams. And it is beginning to open. You may not realize this, but every trial you survived, every night you held your breath through the storm, every time you got back up when the world quietly hoped you wouldn't, all of it was shaping you into someone who could be trusted with more, trusted with responsibility, trusted with blessing. Trusted with influence that does not consume your spirit. Because despite everything, your heart never hardened. It cracked, yes. It bled, yes. But it never closed. You continued to love, to hope, to give. And heaven pays attention to souls like that. So, when I tell you there is a divine inheritance preparing to unlock in your life, I'm not speaking in metaphors. I'm speaking of a truth that has been gathering momentum behind the scenes. It is a gift placed in your story because you've proven again and again that you can carry what others would crumble under. This isn't just money. It isn't just opportunity. It isn't just an answered prayer. It is a recognition of who you are when no one is watching, and when God whispers, "Aries, I trust you." It shifts something inside you. It softens the exhaustion that has lived in your bones. It reminds you that you were never walking through hardship for nothing. You were being prepared for a role that requires both heart and backbone, softness and fire. What is coming toward you now will not change your essence. It will amplify it. Your generosity will grow. Your leadership will expand. Your voice will matter in places it was once ignored. Because the truth is, real abundance doesn't corrupt good people. It frees them. It gives them room to breathe, room to give, room to change the lives of others without sacrificing their own. And you, Aries, you have always been a giver, even when you had little, even when you were running on fumes. That is why this inheritance carries your name. Not because you need reward, but because you have a soul that uses blessing to build, not to boast. Take a breath and let that reality settle into your spirit. Feel the weight of it. Feel the honor in it. Feel how different your life feels when you realize that what's approaching isn't random, it's appointed. And as this realization roots itself deeper inside you, there is something even more powerful waiting to rise from the edges of your awareness. Something about the way you are meant to move in this next chapter, not from struggle, but from alignment. Let's walk into that light together. Aries, you've carried the world on your back for so long that you've almost forgotten what it feels like to exhale without a battle waiting behind the breath. You've lived so much of your life in motion, fighting, pushing, proving, surviving, that somewhere along the way, you began to believe struggle was your natural state, like it was the price you had to pay just to exist. But come closer for a moment. I want to tell you a truth you may have never let yourself believe. You were not born to hustle your way through every doorway. You were not created to grind yourself down to the bone just to feel worthy of receiving anything. Your spirit was not meant to be fueled by pressure. You were meant to attract, to align, to receive. And I know how foreign that sounds to someone who has spent years bracing for the next wave. I know how hard it is to trust ease when your life taught you to depend only on endurance. But Aries, something in your story is changing, something foundational, something that invites you to step out of survival and into inheritance. You've been living as if life required constant effort, but what is coming toward you now doesn't respond to effort, it responds to energy. There is a reason you've been feeling that inner shift, a reason your spirit has grown tired of forcing doors open, a reason you feel a soft tug pulling you toward a quieter kind of strength. It's because heaven has already written abundance into your path, and abundance cannot be forced. It arrives when you stand in your truth. It expands when you stop shrinking yourself to fit old fears. It flows when you stop chasing what was already meant for you. You are not stepping into this wealth transfer as a worker begging for wages. You are stepping into it as an heir reclaiming what was promised. There is a dignity in that, a softness, a knowing, and somewhere deep in you, beneath the scars and the armor, I think you've started to feel it. That strange sense of readiness. That quiet belief that maybe, just maybe, life is allowed to get easier. That you don't have to bleed to be blessed. That grace is not something you earn through exhaustion, but something that finds you when your heart stays open through seasons that tried to close it. You see, Aries, you've always been a warrior, but now life is asking you to become something more sacred. A receiver. Someone who can hold blessing without guilt. Someone who can stand in abundance without apologizing. Someone who can lead not through fire alone, but through fullness. Take a moment here. Feel how different that sounds compared to the life you've lived. Feel how it settles into your bones, almost like they've been waiting for this truth the entire time. And as you let that truth shape the edges of your next breath, another realization is beginning to rise just behind it. Something about what this new abundance will transform in you, and how it will reshape the very landscape of your days. Stay with me, Aries. We're about to step into that revelation together. Aries, take a slow breath with me. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't meant to shock your mind. It's meant to awaken something in your spirit, something that has been waiting quietly at the edge of your awareness. This shift coming toward you, it isn't ordinary. It isn't material in the way the world defines material. It carries a weight, a glow, a purpose beyond numbers and bank accounts. It is a kind of wealth that rearranges the way you stand in your own life. You may not see it yet, but I can feel the vibration of it around you, almost like the air has thickened with possibility. Like life is leaning closer to you, whispering that what once felt out of reach is now turning into something you can touch, something you can hold. This isn't the kind of blessing that slips quietly into the background. It's the kind that reshapes the landscape, the kind that widens your world, the kind that asks your soul to rise to meet a larger version of itself. And maybe that's why you've felt this internal stretching lately, a soft unraveling of the old, a gentle loosening of habits, identities, and stories that no longer fit. Almost like your life has been dimming the lights on one chapter so the next can glow more clearly. You're not losing yourself. You're outgrowing an old version of yourself. And with this new expansion, Aries, comes an invitation. Not a demand, not an obligation, an invitation. To open your hands, to open your heart, to open your mind. Because what's coming your way needs space to land. It needs room to breathe through you, not just around you. It needs a version of you who trusts that blessings are not tricks, that goodness doesn't always hide a consequence, that you are allowed to receive without defending yourself from the past. You have lived a long time, preparing without knowing you were preparing. Now, the season of receiving is beginning without you having to force a single thing. This is supernatural abundance, Aries. It does not move according to logic. It does not check your resume or your mistakes. It does not measure your worthiness by your productivity. It comes because your spirit is aligned with a purpose greater than anything you once dreamed for yourself. And I want you to feel that truth settle into your bones. Feel how different the future feels when you are no longer bracing for disappointment. When you realize that life is not punishing you, it is positioning you. You are stepping into one of the most transformative chapters of your lifetime. A chapter where the version of you that struggled to survive will finally meet the version of you that was always meant to thrive. And as this door opens, as the light shifts, as the air changes around you, I want you to stay with me, because the next thing we're going to explore together is not just what is coming toward you, but who you are becoming because of it. Let's walk into that new horizon together, Aries. Aries, before you go, I want you to take one last breath with me, because something in you shifted tonight. I can feel it. And if you're honest with yourself, you can feel it too. There's a new steadiness in your spirit, a quiet knowing, a soft awareness that life is no longer pushing against you. It's beginning to move with you. This kind of shift doesn't happen often, and it doesn't happen to everyone. It happens to the ones who are chosen. It happens to the ones who are ready. And Aries, you are ready in a way you might not fully understand yet. So, as you step away from this message, I want you to carry something with you. Not fear, not doubt, but the certainty that what's coming toward you was written long before the world tried to convince you otherwise. If this spoke to your soul, tell me in the comments. Your voice matters here. Your presence matters here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, join our little corner of the universe, where messages like this find you exactly when you need them. Because this isn't the end of your story, not even close. This is the moment the universe pauses, leans in, and whispers, keep going. Trust what you feel, trust what's unfolding, and trust yourself, Aries. I'll be right here, waiting for you in the next video, where we'll step even deeper into the path that's opening for you. The journey continues, and the next message is already on its way to you. Until then, take care of that brave heart of yours. It's about to carry more light than you've ever known.